Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back again to Vanzi channel. Today I will share another list of games for Winlator emulation that you can play on Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processor. The following lists use the same Vortek driver as the Snapdragon 8 Elite, so make sure you have to use the latest Winlator version, which has the Vortek driver feature available. Until this video was made, the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 did not have the turnip Mesa driver available. Okay, no more talking. Let's begin. First, Mortal Kombat XL. This game still has graphic bugs when played on this chipset. In this gameplay, using some of the settings below. If there are any settings that can eliminate the graphic bugs, please let us know in the comments section. 2. Skyrim. The Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processor is still not strong enough to play this game perfectly because there is no FPS optimization on the Vortex driver for this processor. This game should be smoother if it already supports turnip drivers. 3. Assassin's Creed Rogue. If the DXVK settings as you see here are not satisfactory, you can replace them for version 1.73 to smoothen the performance. I also accept the suggestions you give in the comments so that some users can choose well. 4. Sleeping Dogs. This game should be more stable with frames per second above 20 when playing it on this processor. I suggest to use the latest version of Winlator and use DXVK 1.73 and a little bit of resolution so the performance might be better. 5. Tomb Raider 2013. Tomb Raider explores the intense origin story of Lara Croft and her ascent from a young woman to a hardened survivor. You can try using Vortek driver to run this game. Also use DXVK 1.7.2 for more stable FPS around dozen. 6. Mountain Blade. The game runs very smoothly at a stable frames per second of 60. This also applies to other mid-range processors, such as 7th Gen 2 or similar, when these processors can't use turnip Mesa driver. Adjust the DXVK settings and driver as below. 7. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero Mugen. This is one of the fan-made games that is quite playable to play. Even for the Mali chipset, it is also able to play it with stable FPS. This game also does not take up too much storage memory. 8. GTA 5. GTA 5 is one of the heavy games to play on mid-range devices. Some of the following driver and DXVK settings may be able to be followed to be applied in your Winlator on this processor. Find good settings on several channels to make it run better. 9. Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 is the next part of the popular horror game, which reveals the history of a dark factory. You have to investigate and find out where all the staff suddenly disappeared. This game run very well on this processor. 10. Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012. This Most Wanted game runs quite well on this processor, although not quite playable. Use the latest DXVK settings 1.73 for better to get stable FPS, and also use 480p resolution. 11. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is an action RPG that lets you experience an expanded version of the thrilling story of Dragon Ball Z. When compared to playing on Yuzu, you will feel a significant increase in this Winlator in terms of performance. 12. Naruto x Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. Now, with the use of the Vortex driver provided in the latest Winlator, it is more effective to play quite heavy games on this processor. Use some settings below to run it. 13. Jump Force. This Jump Force game is still very heavy for you to try on this Winlator, even for the latest version. The gameplay shown in the following sentence uses a battle scene that avoids lighting effects for better FPS performance. 14. GTA 4. With frames per second that can reach 20, now you can definitely play this cool game. Please do not say the download link in the comments. To complete your settings, use the driver and DXVK suggestions below to run it better than you think. 15. Miside. Miside is a fairly popular horror game, and many people have been playing this game for the past few months. As you can see below, this game is still not stable enough to be played on a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 device, even with the Vortek driver. 16. Castlevania Lords of Shadows 2. This is one of the pretty cool games that you shouldn't miss. The gameplay are quite interesting to follow. Moreover, this game is stable enough to be played on this processor on mid-range device. 17. Devil May Cry 4. Devil May Cry 4 is a game that almost all low-end devices can play this game very smoothly, even when you use a Mali GPU. But if you need a better DXVK suggestion to use, please use DXVK 1.7.3 for better performance. 18. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This fighting game also has its own fans among emulator players. You can definitely play this lightweight game on your mid-range device, Snapdragon 7 Gen 3, with stable and smooth performance. 19. The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk game has a storage size of around 1 GB or more, or the RIP version is even only in hundreds of megabytes. This makes this game one of the games that is light enough for you to play on your mid-range device using the Vortek driver. 20. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. As you can see, Sparking Zero game is already running quite well when using the Vortek driver on mid-range devices, such as your Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 and Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processors. 21. Outlast. When compared to when you play this game on Yuzu, on Winlator, you can play this Outlast game very smoothly without experiencing problems such as graphic bugs or significant FPS drops. Use resolution like shown below and DXVK 1.73. 22. Inside. Inside is one of the survival games that is quite tense for you to play on this Winlator. This game is as light as the Limbo game, and both have a fairly low size and do not load too much of your storage usage. 23. Sonic Lost World. Sonic Lost World is the first handheld Sonic game to feature fully realized 3D levels to speed through, and includes special stages and color powers. As you can see, this game is not optimized to play on your processor. 24. NBA 2K16. This NBA game runs very well on devices using Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 or Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 processors. You may need some additional settings when playing it on your device. Use Vortek driver and DXVK 1.73 to run it. 25. WWE 2K15. WWE 2K15 ushers in a new era of WWE video games. The first game to be featured on next-gen platforms, this game will introduce the hardest-hitting and most fluid WWE gameplay to date, closer than ever to what fans see on WWE TV. As you can see here, this game is not optimized to play. Okay. Those are some of the games that you can play on Winlator when using the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processor. I suggest you experiment with the settings in some games that are difficult for you to play on this emulator. Some of the games also have a number of quite annoying graphic bugs. This is because of the Vortex driver you are using. If you think this video is useful, please share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the VanZ channel. Okay, bye.